So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. We are recording, as I said. We'll send out the link to everyone and to all of our members in the coming days. My name is Summer. I'm the Projects and Events Manager for MPAQ, and today I'm just helping out. It's good to see. We had a lot of registrations today, so it's good to see a lot of you here. Today we'll be speaking with Rami, the National Partnerships Manager at Podium Australia. Welcome, Rami.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Rami's going to share real tools and actionable tips that will help you boost your Google reviews, increase efficiency, and unlock cash flow all through the power of text messages. If you do have any questions, feel free to turn on your camera, speak up, raise your hand, anything like that. Otherwise, use the chat if you want to. And if you're watching on the replay later on, feel free to comment any questions, and we can send those off to Podium and get those answered afterwards. But I will hand over to you, Rami. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Simon, for that intro. I want to share my screen over here, and we'll take you through a bit of a journey. So, awesome. So, as Simon mentioned, today's topic is going to be covering how can we boost, or what tools are out there to be able to help boost your reputation online, how to improve efficiency within a plumbing business in Australia, and how to increase cash flow or help with cash flow. Just to introduce myself, my name is Rami Shahada. I've been at Podium for roughly about 6.5 years now, and I'm currently at the head of partnerships at Podium. And before we sort of kick into gear, running through all the different tips and tricks around the topic today, I want to give everyone a bit of an understanding of exactly who Podium is. We have been around for about 10 years. We're a software company based out in the US. We work with about 100,000 local businesses across the globe. And because of that growth, we've had some major financial backings with some of the biggest businesses and companies in the world. One of them is Google Ventures and Y Combinator and what have you. So yeah, pretty big in the space, obviously, and we're doing some really great things globally. As you can see on the screen over here, there is 4 major pillars of exactly what Podium does help out with. One of them is to help businesses get found and get chosen, which is all to do with reviews and more specifically Google reviews. The second thing is, how do we capture more leads for a business? And there's a whole range of ways of being able to do that. The third thing is, once you do capture those leads and those inquiries into a business, how can you as a business be able to capitalize on those leads and convert them into real paying customers? And the last pillar that Podium does really great is how to drive more repeat business. And this all has to do with, SMS marketing or surveys and what have you. Now, these are the major 4 pillars, and we've got products that align with each one of these ones. But for today's purpose, we're going to be sort of touching on a few things. If you want to learn more, obviously, about the product itself, more than happy to sort of facilitate that with the team and take you through a one-to-one sort of demonstration. But on topic today, we are going to be discussing these 3 major parts, which is boost your reputation, increase efficiency, and unlock cash flow, like we mentioned. To kick things off, as part of the journey, I do just want to highlight some really key points that we focus on as a business, which is harnessing the power of text message. And the reason why we double down on text messages for the means of communicating with customers is because Australians actually prefer to text a business versus the traditional phone call or email. One, because we're super busy, right? Everyone's got a 9-to-5 job. Everyone's, don't have that time of day to take away from what they're currently doing to that maybe have like a 5 or 10 minute phone call with the business to ask, a standard question. So for consumers, it's actually much easier if they could, almost leave a message for them and get the business to text back or write back. And the other part of text message, that the reason why it's so powerful for businesses is because it has such a large open rate. So if you are communicating right now with an email has around an 18 to 20% open rate at the moment. And it is, dropping year on year just because there is so much noise in an email, right? If you open it up right now, you're probably getting notifications from Facebook and Instagram and your bills and invoices and all these different things that are all sort of bombarding that or clogging up your inbox. whereas SMS is quite always much more cleaner and it's much more visible for a consumer. So as you can see on the second sort of stat there, 98% of text messages are actually open within the first 3 minutes of receiving it. And it's actually more commonly these days as well with the advancements of like, Apple Watches, where again, you could just go through your phone or your watch and actually see the notification of that text message. So yeah, I wanted to cover the power of text message early on because a lot of the stuff we're going to be speaking about, we do harness the power of text to get those results. So the first point is boosting your reputation for a plumbing business in Australia. More importantly, like when it comes to owning a plumbing business in Australia, there's two major reasons why you should be collecting reviews, or more importantly, Google reviews. Because one, most people that are looking for plumbers are actually doing their search online, and it does start with Google. So the first reason why you should be collecting Google reviews for your business is because you want to make sure that you stand out. Right? That's the first key thing. If there's a decision to be made right now between your plumbing business and another plumbing business down the road, people will always gravitate towards the one that has more Google reviews. And that's even subconsciously. Some people don't go out of their way to select a business with Google reviews, but if there is one that's like 3.5 and one that's 4.8, people will always sort of veer towards that. It's not just for plumbing businesses. I'm sure everyone's got the experience of searching for a restaurant where there might be a Thai restaurant that is better than other. We'll always gravitate towards the one that has more reviews. That's the first main reason. The second main reason why businesses should be collecting Google reviews is because Google will actually reward businesses that collect Google reviews on a frequent basis. So the more Google reviews we are collecting on a day-to-day basis, the more Google will go, cool, this person is actually using our platform as much as possible. Let's actually boost him and actually reward that business and drive them up to the top of those searches. Another big call out when it comes to Google reviews is that 81% of people read reviews before visiting your business. And that's pretty evident. Even if you look at that third stat over here, 84% of consumers trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation. And I'd say most business owners that we speak to, they do get most of their business from word of mouth and referral. But even if you do refer a business to someone like a consumer, the first thing that they have to do is Google you guys and find your number and call you. So you just want to make sure that your business has a very awesome and positive and accurate representation of your business that is found online, because that is the first step of the journey for most consumers. The other thing to note as well, which is that second stat, that 50% of consumers won't choose a business fewer than 4 stars. I'll note one thing about this. There's about 5 to 10% of searches these days where consumers are typing in best restaurant near me or best plumber near me. And what that automatically does from a Google standpoint is actually remove any business that's lower than 4 stars. So yes, it's not crazy amounts of people doing it. 5 to 10% is very low. But if you are below 4 stars, and it's something that you guys should genuinely look at, if you are below that 4 stars, then you're just not in that search whatsoever. So even if if they did type it in and you're below that, you're just not going to be coming up in those searches. So that kind of wraps up the review component and the reasons why they're important. There's actually a ton more things that go into Google reviews. Like, if you've got a really stellar reputation online, we've found that a lot of penny pinchers and tire kickers aren't going to be the one that chooses you, and you're going to be sort of working with the people that are actually ready to book and aren't going to be price shopping. There's like a lot of value, and actually we've seen a lot of business owners actually attract more staff because of the quality of their Google reviews as well. So Google reviews isn't just there so then you can magically look good on Google. It helps your businesses so many different ways. The second part to it is, how do we collect more Google reviews, right? And one of the biggest things that we focus on as a business is making sure that when you are collecting Google reviews, it is autopilot. So this can happen through integrations. It could be after like a invoice is paid through Xero, they get a Google review invite. It could be through, and after after the job is completed, the person that just finishes it, instead of giving a business card, they can send them a text message asking for a Google review. And that's sort of part of the process. The reason why I say you need to sort of make it part of your process or make it autopilot is because what we've also seen is people will get reminded that Google reviews are important, and they'll have like a spike in activity in collecting Google reviews with their team. And then they don't collect reviews for the next 3 months, right? And it sort of goes stagnant. And then they get reminded again, and it goes up again, which is good. Like it means that the business owners are still, focusing on reviews. But what I will say is Google's more responsive when it comes to the frequency. So if you're doing it week on week and it's sort of part of your process, that's when the SEO and getting found more often actually really plays really, really well. So yeah, just want to highlight that, making sure that business owners everywhere is sort of thinking about how that could be implemented into their business as well. Amazing. Kind of wraps up the review component. The second part, I would say, is probably the most important part of this presentation, is how do we increase efficiency within a plumbing business in Australia, and I'll dive into that. The first, where I'm going to start with this is I will really want to highlight where does, generally speaking, all the leads and inquiries from all the different consumers, where do they come in from a business standpoint? And from there, we could sort of, give advice on exactly how to, become more efficient as a business. But highlighting where all the leads come from is going to be a really good place to start. So the first part is social media. So, there's a lot of plumbing businesses out there at the moment that use Facebook and Instagram to promote, sales or whatnot. So that's one of the means of how customers or consumers can reach a business. So if you're running Facebook ads as an example and people are actually inquiring into it, that's just one of the lead channels that a business owner could get. There's a huge highlight on this in particular, which is most business owners will have access to that Facebook account and they don't give or share those details, rightfully so, to the rest of the staff. But I wanted to highlight that is a lead form, and we've got some suggestions on exactly how to sort of capitalize on those inquiries as well. The second part is, it's an interesting one. It's text messages, which is, again, another lead form or a format for customers to be able to text a business. This doesn't mean that, the business might have a textable number that, consumers are texting. It kind of means that a business owner might have their own personal device that they're calling customers out of, or they're texting customers out of, and those customers are texting back. The reason why we're highlighting this one as a lead channel is because what we've also found is when a business owner communicates with their customers through their own personal device, or, it could be a salesperson that's, again, communicating with customers through their own personal device. The question you got to ask yourself is, what happens if that business owner goes away for 2 weeks? What happens to those communications with those customers? What if someone does text that number back? Is it, potential lost revenue that we're, missing out on? Is it just, a poor customer experience from the customer's perspective? Similar to the salesperson, what if that salesperson decides to pack up and leave the business? Is he taking all those customer communication with them? Is he going to be taking all, your potential customers with that mobile phone as well? So again, just want to highlight that is a lead format. Kind of wanted to show the sort of problem, and we've got a solution for that in particular as well. The third thing is website contact forms. Most businesses and websites will have this. The thing you got to ask yourself is, take your owner's hat off for a second, put your owner's hat on, your consumer hat on, jump into your own website, find the contact us form. If it's too hard to find, if it's hidden, maybe think about working with with someone to sort of change that up. And even when it comes to the contact form itself, is there too many questions you're asking those consumers? The reason why I'm calling this out is because website forms is a really good way of capturing after-hour inquiries. And if you've made it too hard or too hidden, there could be potentially lost revenue in that, which is something that you can easily capitalize on with some minor changes. The fourth sort of pillar is third-party websites. So it's things like High Pages and, Airtasker, and sometimes people post on like Facebook Marketplace or what have you. That's another really good lead form. There is a lot of nuances when it comes to these third-party platforms, like High Pages as an example. A customer will inquire and it goes to 5 different business owners. So I'm highlighting that is a lead form, I want to show you an effective way of being able to capitalize on those leads as well, which I'll run you through in the next slides. The fifth pillar is website chats. So that could be, a live chat, it could be an email chat, it could be like some sort of chat, website chat thing that, gets people to put in their details. We've got a really good one that takes it to text, but this is a really good way of being able to, again, capitalize on leads from your own website, especially for those that are jumping onto your website after hours and on weekends, when, they're doing their research on the couch with their wife, like, holy crap, this thing is broken. I need to call a plumber ASAP. I'll call them on Monday. Or they might, jump around all these different websites. If we're not making it as clear and as easy as possible for that customer to leave an inquiry, then that's potential lost revenue. So maybe just have a think about that when you're looking at your own websites. If you don't have some sort of chat solution, then maybe do some research around that. Or maybe you have a chat solution that's a live chat where it doesn't necessarily mean that the customer will get a response back straight away. Maybe think about what other tools out there in the market to sort of help solve for that as well. And the last form, and it's probably the most common way that a business will get leads, is through phone calls. Now, obviously, phone calls isn't just the landline that's at the front receptionist or what have you. It's every single phone in the business. So the business owner's mobile phone number, the salesperson phone number, every single one of those phone calls right now is probably being done, on their own accord, and nothing is tracked, nothing is sort of put into the CRM that we've had this conversation with this person. It's kind of just like all over the place, and there's no trackability or visibility over that from a business standpoint. So there's ways of being able to enhance that. And I think, like, just to wrap up all these lead inquiries, the number one thing that we urge everyone to do is to centralize all these communications, right? That's the key theme here in making your business a lot more efficient, is when you are getting leads from all these different places, so social media, a personal text message, a website contact form, a chat tool, high pages, whatever, right? You can just sort of, if you picture yourself in your business at the moment, that might be in an email where you're getting the inquiries from website. You'll have to log into your Facebook to get it to respond back to those, those leads on Facebook. Then you've got someone else's mobile phone over here, and then you've got the landline. All those things are all in different places at the moment, and that's where where you can increase efficiency, is when it's all tied into that one spot, one centralized sort of inbox where you can actually manage all those different conversations from everywhere. That's the key thing. What you want to do is capitalize on that, put them all into one. And like, I want to highlight a few key parts around this. Is, let's say in the example of the business owner wanting to take that 2-week break, and he's got his personal phone mobile with him. What happens with those phone calls? What happens if a customer wants to text or call back that business owner? Does that just get lost? Are we just losing out on that revenue? Or even in the case of like Facebook as well, everyone always tells us that Facebook is always low quality leads. And it's not because, it's the platform itself is the reason why it's harnessing, low quality leads. It's because that business owners, or most businesses, respond to those leads, hours later, if not days later. And it's because maybe 1 or 2 people in the business have access to that Facebook account. And, if someone inquires, it might take them 2 or 3 days to get to them because it's not their number one priority. Phone calls are, right? So what we want to do is make sure that every single lead from every single channel is all in one, so we can act as if every consumer, no matter where they come from, is someone that we should be dealing to. And it should be with the same people that are handling the phone calls as of this moment. But now they can sort of take care of all the different communication channels all at once. Yeah. That kind of sort of wraps up the lead component and centralizing it. If anyone has any more questions, or if they want to dive into that even further, I'm more than happy again to facilitate that and jump onto a different call for that. Amazing. To wrap up the efficiency piece, again, if you imagine your plumbing business where all those leads come into that one inbox now, there's advancements in the space right now that everyone could capitalize on. and those advancements are all to do with AI. And I want to introduce you to what that AI advancement looks like and how you can sort of introduce that into the plumbing industry or into your business. Now, there's two things an AI employee will do for a plumbing business. The first thing is he's going to, or she's going to, save you a buttload of time. And I'm going to prove that to you guys today with a few case studies. That's the first thing, save you a lot of time. And the second thing that AI employees do is that they've been proven to be able to convert customers at a higher rate. And I'll run you through some of those examples as well. Okay. I guess you might be asking though, like, what is an AI employee and what is his job? Essentially, if you think about all those different lead channels that we spoke about before, like Facebook and High Pages and the live chat and the contact us form, what the AI employee's job is to do is to respond and manage all those leads, essentially communicating with your customers on your behalf, right? Before they get to you. And the reason why we want to do this is because we want to make sure that we can qualify and disqualify people before they even get to you. And I'll run you through some of those examples. But the cool thing is as well with the AI is it's going to manage all your leads from all those different channels we spoke about 24/7. So if you imagine, those public holidays when you guys are off, those weekends when your business is quite literally closed, even during the week when, after hours when you guys again are going home to your kids and whatnot, AI is going to be able to take over those leads and communicate with those customers. Basically, what his job is to do is to qualify and disqualify those customers by understanding your service offerings. So this is something that can be configured. So you as a plumbing business might install hot water systems, but you might not do this, or you might work with a certain brand, but you might not work with these brands. So he's going to understand all of that. He's going to also understand your service areas, because if an inquiry comes in and it's too far out of the service area, the AI can actually respectfully decline that customer before they get to you, which again is just proven to be a huge time saver. If you imagine what the process looks like right now for a business, I might call up, hey, my name is Rami, I'm looking to get my hot water system installed, like how much will it cost? And the conversation goes on and on and on. And at the end, it's like, oh yeah, I actually live in this area. It's like, oh, it's actually too far out of our service area. We've just wasted 5 or 10 minutes out of our day, almost disqualifying that customer. Or even in the case of like that customer, might call up, we miss it, we call back, and we're playing phone tag with that customer, going back and forth and back and forth, and we finally get them on. To then we find out that we have to disqualify that customer anyway. Again, you can just sort of imagine how many minutes and hours that sort of stacks up during the week, when again an AI could easily take over those managed conversations and only give you the ones that are ready to rock. And again, I'll run you through what that looks like. The other thing that AI employees should be doing as well is giving relevant qualifying questions. So, are you the homeowner? Do you live at the property? Where is the property? Is there a service that we can do? And again, we'll run through that. The AI employee can also escalate urgent situations to the business as well. So if there's any emergency work out there that needs urgent attention, we can flag that quite quickly, or the AI can. But the most important thing about an AI employee is handing over fully qualified leads and engaged leads to your team, so then they can do the actual booking. So this is really crucial, because if you imagine, again, if you guys are getting leads from High Pages, which it's low quality in a lot of people's eyes, if we have AI sort of taking care of that and only giving you the ones that are like, okay, cool, I'm ready to book now, then you don't really have to do too much from that. So you're really capitalizing on those leads, especially with, again, Facebook. Business owners don't have time to do that. You might give it to the team to take care of those inquiries, but we can also just leave that to AI to sort of qualify and disqualify that lead or that customer, and only give you the ones that are actually prepared to book in. I want to run you through an example of this, and this is a real life example of the AI. We've named him Gary for our purpose, but obviously you can name him whatever you'd like. But this is a real life customer inquiry. Okay. Basically happened on March 3rd on a Sunday at 10 a.m. Again, most businesses are closed at that point. So, this customer inquiry, typically what would happen is they would get a response the next day. Okay, but this is the inquiry. Hey, I'd like to have full electrical inspection for an ex-government house recently purchased in Preston. Okay. 1 minute later, so 10:06, AI kicks in. This is really cool because his response sort of proves that he's actively listening. It sounds superhuman and it's not robotic whatsoever. But his response is, "Hi, Stephanie. Gary here from Ed's Electrical. Congrats on your new house. We can definitely help with that full electrical inspection." Now he's starting to figure out what the qualifying questions are. Can you confirm, are you the homeowner and do you currently live at the property? That's all again done through AI. The response from the customer is great. "Hi, Gary. Thank you here and thank you for reaching out on a Sunday. Great question. We're at pre-settlement stage, but would like to seek permission from the current owner to get the electrical inspection done." This is really cool because, again, customers love this experience where they're communicating with the business and actually getting a response 24/7. And also, you can see that the AI is actually extracting more business to give the owner a bit more context of exactly what that job is. The next step is AI then responds straight away. He basically asks, "Could you please provide me your email addresses," which is a requirement for the business. And the second thing he asks is also, "When is a good time for the inspection?" Essentially, "We'll do our best to match your preferred schedule." So what he's doing there is essentially getting commitment from that customer. He's not locking them in per se, but he's getting some sort of commitment. She then responds, "Here's my email address, and also here's my partner's email address. And we're aiming for Friday the 5th. So there's the commitment right there. The AI responds, "Cool, sounds good." Sets the expectation that we'll call them tomorrow. The very next day, which was on a Monday, literally the business picked up the phone, called them at 8:35 and locked her in. So it's pretty cool in the sense that if you think about what the AI did just now, it found out if it hits the requirements of the business. So yes, we can do electrical inspections. Yes, it's in Preston, so we know that it's in the service area that we can do. Then we also found out she is the business owner, the homeowner, like trying to get permission from the homeowner, which again, the AI recognized that that's a big tick. And then we got the email addresses and we got the commitment. So it's taking them down a small little funnel to then go, "Cool, I'll give this to the team," and all the team need to do now is pick up the phone and actually call that customer. So it's really, really cool. AI has had some major advancements in the space. And again, I want to call out that this is going to be available. This is available right now with all lead channels for a business: Facebook, High Pages, contact us forms, all of that, including web chats as well. Here's a quick little snippet on a testimonial around AI, because I would say AI in particular, I think a lot of people get sort of scared around it. So I kind of want to just highlight what it means for this business in particular. But AI employees have been a game changer for our business. We previously struggled to respond and effectively convert leads that come in after hours and on weekends. With AI now responding to inquiries 24/7, we've overcome this challenge. Our team love AI employee because they don't have to spend time playing phone tag to maybe qualify a lead. Instead, this is done for them and they can focus on getting back to the best customers, booking jobs, and delivering exceptional service. So that bottom line is probably the key thing here. Business owners and employees love AI because they don't have to spend time chasing leads, responding back to emails, playing phone tag with customers. There's like a lot of different work, like a lot of effort and work that goes into trying to get that customer onto a phone or like respond through an email and actually lock them in. This is all done for them. They don't have to literally do anything. They can start to focus on other areas of the business that might need improving, like searching for more staff or improving efficiencies or whatever, right? So yeah, it's really, really powerful for business owners to implement AI. Amazing. And that kind of sort of wraps up the efficiency piece. So again, if you imagine all those lead channels all in one, and then we've got AI that sort of helps navigate all those different leads, help sort of streamline your business and make it so efficient it's not even funny. And again, it means that as a business owner or the rest of the staff, that you guys can start to focus on other areas of the business that might need attending to. The third part of this presentation is how to unlock cash flow. And I'll run you through exactly what that looks like. More importantly, when we talk about cash flow, it's essentially how do you guys get paid? how, as a plumbing business in Australia, how can you get paid quicker? And I wanted to highlight before we go into, the solution component of like what the current state of play looks like with payment processes. And I'm highlighting two of like the most, I would say, common ones at the moment, which is, I might finish a job and, the team has, completed everything and they've got a squared reader that they carry with them. And, a lot of the times the feedback we receive with square readers in particular is that a lot of them go flat. The connection isn't good. I have to carry around a third, a piece of hardware with me all the time. And that's kind of, cumbersome a lot of the time. So that's like kind of state of play, but that is a really good way of being able to collect payment on site. But there's obviously, other tools out there for that in particular, and we'll run you through that. And the second most common way, I'd say is probably even more common than square readers, is sending out invoices to collect payments after a job is completed. And it's funny when we talk about this one in particular, is because whenever we speak to business owners, one of the biggest feedback they receive from customers is once the job is finished or completed, as soon as they're walking out the door, the customer's like, okay, how do I pay you now? And most people will say, cool, we'll go back to the office and send you an invoice. And that, again, there's like a lot of time that it takes to do that. And I've highlighted a few things as well from the customer's perspective. The reason why it takes so long for people to actually, give business owners payment is not because they don't want to, and that's what a lot of business owners are saying. It's like, yeah, they're the worst. They don't want to, they don't want to pay on time. It's not because of that. It's mainly because of the process or the customer journey in collecting or submitting payment to you guys. So the first thing is when you are sending an invoice, it is done through email majority of the time, and it could be done through, Xero or what have you. But if it is done through email, like we mentioned before, 18 to 20% open rate. So again, they sort of have to find that from all the noise in a general email. Then they have to log into their bank, right? And some of the time, I personally have run into this problem a lot where I don't know my client number or whatnot. Okay, I found it, logged into my bank. Then I have to jump into my invoice and then jump back into my bank and grab the BSB and account number and sort of, jump back forth to make sure that all the digits are correct. And I know full well that everyone has this experience where they probably look at that number like 1,000 times just to make sure everything is done correctly. But there is human error that could come with that in particular. And then they submit. That's a very long process. And most consumers are aware of that. So if it comes to, me having to make dinner and look after my kids versus, taking 5 or 10 minutes out of my day to submit payment through this invoice, majority of the time we always, sort of, take the easy route out and just, continue on our day. And then we have to start to chase and chase and chase and chase it as a business owner. And that's where friction can start to happen as well, because now we're chasing money, even though they're the ones in the wrong, they're the ones that owe us money. We're still, the people that are sort of chasing them for that. So I kind of want to just highlight that, and maybe it's a really good opportunity for you to sort of sit down and just analyze exactly what that payment journey looks like for customers, and if there is, tips or if there's tools out there to help sort of mitigate that as well. Which brings me to the solution, right? There's two parts to the solution. One of them is text to pay, and the other one is tap to pay. Now, in replacement to square readers, there is technology out there, and Podium obviously has one as well, of tap to pay features where literally a consumer the business will have walk-in terminals being their own mobile devices. So any mobile device in a business right now, you can turn this into a terminal or a square reader, let's say. So the way that you can do that is you work with a provider like a Podium as an example, you download the app, and with all the new smartphones these days, you can actually, scan, put in that amount, let's say it's a $500 job, whatever, and the customer quite literally scans your phone and actually you can collect payment on site right there and then. The benefit to that over a square reader in particular is that you don't have to carry around a third sort of, piece of hardware with you at all times. You're carrying around your own personal device. And more often than not, you've got battery always with you. So it's a really good way of being able to capitalize on all the different mobile phones in your business and make them almost as walking terminals everywhere. So that's the first thing. It means that you can start to collect payment on site, which is crucial. The second thing is text to pay. So text to pay in particular is you can send out a text basically to a customer and there'll be like a secure payment link. And that link in particular will, when they click on it, it uses services like Google Pay, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay. And that's crucial because what that will do is it eliminates as many barriers as humanly possible. So the first thing we'll do is text them. So again, 98% open rate in the first 3 minutes of receiving it. We're using services like Google Pay, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, and it's right in their mobile phone, so it's super secure. So when they click on it, they choose Google Pay. Literally, it's a Face ID, it might be a fingerprint, whatever, and then you've just submitted payment. So if you think about what that process looks like versus what the alternative is, which is, the invoicing, sending it out, them having to log into their bank and go through that process, it is such a smoother process to use, the technology out there to, submit, to collect payments from customers, which is really good. And there's technology out there for that in particular, again, highlighting that Podium has one as well. I think that wraps up the presentation today. I hope that was super helpful for business owners all across Australia and more in particular in Queensland. Now, like I said, we've gone over like a high level sort of overview of exactly what Podium does, but there is so much tips and tricks out there and more tools in our arsenal. If you do want to have a look at what that looks like in particular, I'm more than happy to facilitate a one-to-one demonstration of the platform with the team in particular. But that's all from me. Hopefully that was super helpful. Any questions?
Yeah, thanks, Rami. That was great. And just for everyone watching, we have just established the relationship with Podium, and so we will have a special member offer available through Podium as well. That should be available on our website shortly. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, looks like Catherine's typing one. I did have one about the AI. Can it, with something like that, can it recognize, say, your current availability? So say you've shut the business for a few days, can you temporarily change the messaging that's going out, or, just for a couple of days or something like that?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. It's a great question, Summer. Yeah, and the business owner can actually do that on the back end as well. So there's something called frequently asked questions, essentially, and you can sort of just submit, okay, cool, my time is going to be off for the next 2 days. Can you answer with this? And you can like submit those. The thing that I'll also highlight as well is there is advancements happening with like certain CRMs at the moment where the AI could actually even book in jobs. We don't want to move on to that too quickly. We'd prefer to get commitment out of those customers and then have the business, make those decisions at the very end. But soon in the future, I think AI is actually going to start booking those jobs as well.
And like be able to integrate with, say, a job management software to see like what the calendar looks like currently for a business.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, cool. Anyone else have any questions or anything? A little bit quiet today. It's lunchtime. They're probably eating lunch.
I'm quite hungry myself, so. No.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that towards the end. I was like, should have eaten before this.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, we have recorded it, so we will have that up on our YouTube page a little bit later today. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to comment them below the video on YouTube, and we'll get those questions answered by Podium. If you want to find out more about Podium, there was the QR code just up on the screen, but we'll be sending out an email after this with a link to some more information. But yeah, thank you so much to Podium for helping us with this one. Thank you to Rami for being here today and for doing the presentation. Do one more check, see if there's any questions come in. Doesn't look like it.
All good.
All good. All right. Well, yeah, thank you so much for everyone for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day.